Okay, for this video we're going to look at query 3b, which is generally seen as the more difficult one and one they'll use to decide whether you're a distinction standard or not. They've actually given quite a nice one this time. They're asking for the selling price of a product is calculated by increasing the purchase price by 10%. So we already have the purchase price in one of our tables. They're asking us to calculate what the purchase price is plus 10%. There's a few different ways you can do that, and I'm going to try and show you the most efficient way of doing it in this video. We're going to create a query to display information about cups. So we've got a product, but there's a little trick with that one they're trying to catch you out with. They're telling us what we need to calculate, which we know. We're not going to jump straight into the calculate though, and I would advise usually if they do that, it's normally towards the end of the query, not the start. We want to look at the display information here as well. So we know we've got cups, we know we've got purchase price, we know we need the product description, which is where we'll find the cups information, the supplier name, the purchase price and the selling price. Selling price doesn't currently exist in our database, so we know we need to make that as a field in our new query. So let's just jump straight into it. So based on the information we know we need, we're just going to add those fields in. Now the tables first, sorry, so we can add the fields in. So we're going to add the product table because that's the one that contains the word cups. We're going to add the supplier product table, which is our link table, and that has the purchase price in there. And we're also going to take in the supplier because that's one of the things they want displayed in the final part of the question. The first thing now is to find our product. So we're going to take our product description because that's where the items are described. Take that, we're going to add it here. Now the criteria when you're looking for cups would normally just be cups, but cups on its own doesn't exist in the database, and Access is quite fiddly about how it tries to find information. So we've got to use what they call a wildcard, which is something they'd like to do in this query. And there's two different ways of doing a wildcard. So you can say like cups, and that will then, it'll put the word cups into speech marks for you, and that will find any entry in that category that contains the word cups. So we might have different colored cups, might have different size cups. As long as that word is in there, it will find it. That's the way I like to do it because it makes sense. It's a bit like a sentence. But you can also do star cups star, which is sort of the more old-fashioned way of doing it. And if you look, Access has actually changed it to like. So I'll just keep it to the simple version. So I'm searching for things that contain the word cups. The other thing we need is we need to show the supplier name. So I'll just double check back on the question. So we want to display information about cups. We've done that. They want to see the supplier name and the product description. We've done those two. Now we need to show the purchase price, and then we'll work on the selling price, and that's the complex query done. So the purchase price is here. Just going to double click and add that in. Nothing to do with that. And now I need to make my own field for the last one. So I'm just going to expand that column so you can see what I write. And this new one is called the selling price. So using camel case to put my new field name in. Because it's a new field, we have to put a colon after it. So now Access knows I'm making a new field. The next thing I need to do then is basically take purchase price and work out what that purchase price is plus 10%. So some people, when they do this, might do an extra field here with the extra 10%, and then they would add that on to the purchase price. You would do purchase price plus your 10% in that column there. That would work, and you'd get really good marks for it. This is the most efficient way though. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that purchase price field. So I'm going to use square brackets because I'm calling on an existing field name. So purchase price is, remember, it's got to appear exactly as it does as a field name. So if you've got no spaces, put no spaces. I have, so I've left them in. I'm closing the square brackets, and then I'm going to multiply that number by 1.1. So normally to work out the 10%, you would multiply it by 0.1. But we want the full price plus the 10%. So there's your full price plus 10%. And that is the full query. I just want to show that. There's a little thing you can do for the extra mark is for this column here, because it's a price, we've already set that one to currency, so we need to set this to currency too. So you can right click and you can go to properties, and over here you'll have a format, and in that format section, sorry, my table has gone a little bit narrow. If I expand that out, in the format section I can choose currency, and then the results will display with pound signs and pennies as expected. But that is the most complex query in this past paper. It's quite a nice one.